For the sake of review, I'll subject myself to this cotton candy of a mess, My Little Pony. For starters, I believe this show is for girls and for nobody else, which is why I don't see how so many grown men are dying with love over this. I'm ashamed and horrified to admit it that this show fills me with a little teeny tiny bit of happiness. The characters are good. Dang it, Sharp! Why would you let me hate you? There's no stopping it. You saw the show and you didn't like it? I envy you.
Was that kill?
Alright, well, before we get into this, let's start off with the trailer.
I am excited, but I'm a little nervous too.
You'll soon know more about this place than even I do.
What am I?
You okay?
You must be new here.
My name's Twilight Sparkle and Pinkie Pie? You're officially up for the coveted Princess of the Fall Formal Crown.
Where is this Twilight Sparkle?
Yes, this is exactly what I've been asking for. This is exactly what I needed. The girly situations, the flowers, the makeup, it's all there. It's all there. This, if anything's gonna wake me up, it's going to be this. This is exactly what I was worrying about with the show with the talking ponies. This is what I was worried about. So, let's get this freak show underway. I've got here my list of notes on what I thought about the movie. So, press play. Our adventure begins pretty much where we left off. Limelight Crackle has been promoted to princess status and was off to her first princess summit to do, I don't know, princess stuff I guess. Well, we're off to a pretty good start. Sounds lame. But then this particular scene happens.
You're nerve-excited! It's like you want to jump up and down and yell, "Yay, me!" But you also want to curl up in a teeny tiny ball and hide at the same time!
Now you want to take away Transformers too? What more do you want? But I will admit, these couple seconds were way better than these three movies combined. Yeah, I said it, I went there. Anyway, they get to the castle. She bumps into this guy, who surely won't be important to the story.
I haven't seen you since the coronation.
Neither have we. And they get shoved off to bed.
Ugh. Just trying to get comfortable!
Okay, look, I know what we're all thinking. And no, I'm not gonna make that joke. It's already been made a million times. Moving on. And then we get this.
My Little Pony.
It's not that it's crazy good, but it's a step up from the show's intro, what with its trippy visuals and Loopy Fruit's music. But it's going to take more than just a trippy intro to make me think that this video is going to be worth watching. But faster than you can say any of these characters' long name, the plot arrives.
What?
Oh. My crown! She's got my crown!
Sorry it had to be this way. Princess.
That was Sunset Shimmer.
Sunset Shimmer,
I already said that!
a former student of mine. She began her studies with me not long before Twilight. But when she did not get what she wanted as quickly as she liked, she turned cruel and dishonest.
Sunset Shimmer was impatient with her studies, ran away I guess, and came back and tried to replace the crown hoping that no one would notice. Some would say what's the point of the dummy crown when they resolved that issue so quickly, but in the story, she was hoping that she wouldn't get caught, so it made sense that she would leave a fake crown. But still, stupid plot hole, right? Anyway, Sunset Shimmer escaped using this magic mirror some time ago and had returned. We learned that the mirror is a portal to another world and was sent to this princess to guard. Some would say, geez, why would you leave such an important mirror just left out in the open unguarded for them to just stumble through and the crowd would fall through? Well, someone had to unlock it, right? Still, plot holes. Spotlight Rackle is informed that she has to travel to this other world and retrieve the crown. The problem is that if she doesn't do it quick enough, it'll close for another, I don't know, long time I guess. And of course, the gang follows. Or do they?
I'm afraid I can't let you go. Sending all of you could upset the balance of this alternate world.
Great Scott! I know, this is heavy.
But this doesn't stop Spike from following, because apparently his worries are more important than the universes collapsing on themselves. And then they actually included the reaction of fans when they found out that they were going to be people in this movie. Flashlight Pickle has become human, and Spike is a dog. Because I guess that's the equivalent of a dragon in our world. A dog. I don't know, it's already weird that he can talk. Getting a hold of herself, they decide to venture into the strange new dimension of hands, legs, and pollution to find the crown and save everyone. I guess, I don't know. But let's take a little detour to the controversy surrounding some of this. After the announcement, some parents were concerned about the appearance of the characters. Some felt that they looked too anorexic and perfect that they could possibly set a bad image for little girls and make them self-conscious. And to which I can sort of understand, because after all it is only human nature to want to copy. And Hasbro couldn't show this off more plainly. But that's none of my concern, because my problem is with what some other parents thought was the reasoning behind the making of this movie. Some speculated that this move was to satisfy the older fans. Yes, because we all wanted a movie about high school teenage girls right after we got used to the idea of talking ponies was being okay. If anything's going to wake me up from this, it's gonna be this. Thank you, Hasbro. In the strange new world, she finds that she has lost her greatest means of defense. Magic. Without her magic, she's pretty much just an ordinary plain purple person. She stumbles about, tries to figure out where she is, and bumps into this guy, who surely won't be important to the rest of the story. Then we get this little music video. And I gotta admit, this scene was worth watching in theaters. It was like Wreck-It Ralph but for MLP. Every time a background character from the show would appear, the crowd went crazy. Cheering, yells of joy. Watching it at home, it felt oddly quiet. So, that doesn't mean anything. Any crowd reaction could rub off on someone. They could be cheering for drying paint, and I'd probably feel some sort of reaction to that. But no time to talk about that. We found the plot. Which brings us to a very important element of a film, the villain. A good villain is one that stands out in the story. For the most part, they tend to be more interesting than the hero because the villain represents everything that's bad in humanity. They're selfish, evil, yet what makes a good villain is the tragedy behind it. What drove these characters to become who they were? Never mind, I'd rather not know yours. And Sunset Shimmer does not display any of these qualities. Other than the tidbit that we know that she was impatient, we don't know why she's so mean. She's just played out to be the typical high school mean girl, snaps at people, and is very, very mean. However, it doesn't feel as much as I would hope. In other movies with undeveloped villains, it's hard to want to hate the person because we're not emotionally invested. But in this case, the way she treats these particularly already established characters from the show, it makes you really want to hate her guts and want to see what happens.
You really are pathetic. It's no wonder your best friends are all stray animals.
Who cares about her backstory now? We just want to see Miss Plum beat her up or something. That and it's my miniature horse. I mean, how good a villain could they possibly make? Okay, so maybe this is a little bit below average. Then we get another particular scene that's odd. Once Sunset Shimmer goes away, we get a human version of these two meeting, and it's done like the show.
What's your name? I'm Fluttershy.
It works in the original because it's the first time they meet, and she's obviously shy. But here they're seen talking.
I can't believe you did that. Well, it's just that nobody ever stands up to Sunset Shimmer.
And then she gets quiet.
I'm Fluttershy.
Sorry, what was that?
It's Fluttershy.
Did she forget she was shy and then remember? Screw it.
Sunset Shimmer said you picked something up. Something that belonged to her.
It wasn't a crown, was it? Mm-hmm. But I didn't want anything to happen to it, so I decided to give it to Principal Celestia.
She goes to see Principal Celestia and is informed that the crown is the prize for being voted Princess of the Fall Dance. Instead of just saying she needs the crown, she decides to take the unnecessarily fun route and chooses to compete. This leads to some exposition on Sunset Shimmer and how she always wins, but it also takes time to show how in this world people are separated by social groups. Pretty interesting that they took this route because it's not like they try to sugarcoat reality.
That comes later.
And they presented high school in a somewhat more realistic way. Loud, full of energy, and groups of kids separated to certain groups. Until later, I guess. She meets the human version of the pink one. Really guys, I'm working on saying all the names. I really am. Look, watch. Pinky, Pinky, Pink. And Twilight Princess signs up for the ballot. We also get to knock off another character while we're at it. We get reintroduced to Applejacks. And we also get some more villain time.
It ain't necessarily gonna be your coronation this time around.
Oh, is that so? You country folk really aren't that bright. Must be why the other students say such awful things about you.
My initial reaction when watching this was raised eyebrows. I felt like it was a low blow, and my wanting to see this character blasted to the moon heightened. And I always felt that if you really despised the villain, they couldn't be that bad, could they? Also, we get introduced to her henchman, Bulk and Skull.
Yeah! Dreamers! Have fewer balloons!
I mean, Snips and Snails. Now, some fans complain about these characters being placed in the wrong role, and I can kinda see why. In the show, they weren't portrayed as villains. They were shown as immature boys who followed around a false idol simply on her word. But this is the human version of these characters, and if these characters were human, I wouldn't put it too past the spectrum of reality that they would be mean and follow this character who probably makes herself out to be greater than she really is. And besides, if they invented 2 new characters to fill in these roles, fans would probably be complaining that they invented 2 new characters just for the sake of being henchmen. So I thought it was better that they at least picked out these pre-established characters who could kind of fit the mold depending on how you see it. And to me, I thought it worked. I can't praise it much longer. We get a confrontation in the hallway that could really use some maintenance, and the fight is on. And then we get a pretty fun cameo.
The great and powerful Trixie! Need some peanut butter crackers.
And some more fan service. It's like this movie is a never-ending canon of references. Please, movie. Stop. But no time for that now. It's time to get some humor. But all that is going to have to wait since Bulk and Skull have been sent by Sunset Shimmer to videotape her every move. And for what purpose? Well, the next day, having researched everything she could about the school and the library, she goes out to make a good first impression. And is found to be laughed at by everyone. Rare pulls her inside a classroom and disguises her. Why, you ask? Because apparently high school kids know how to make pretty funny campaign videos.
Twilight Sparkle wants to be your fall formal princess.
I take that back. It's pretty bad.
Well, I thought it was pretty funny. With the partial group back together and backing her up, surely they'll pull through in the end, right? No! In this universe, they're not friends. Well, at least they're not anymore. They were. Apparently, they all have one reason to dislike each other. But who could have done something like this? How will we ever find out? It was her, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Though we never actually confirm or deny this, they all just discover that someone had been sending wrong invite dates, emails, and all sorts of messages that let the group feel that they didn't need each other. For all we know, it could have been this guy. But no time for that now, we still have one more character to meet.
So you're looking to dethrone Sunset Shimmer. I'll totally help you out. All you gotta do is beat me in a game of one-on-one. What?
So anyway, they play their game and... Wait, I need to say something. And they play their game and... Wait, I kinda wanna watch this. Okay, fine. I'll admit, this scene is pretty cool. Don't judge me. But just the combination of the music and the soccerness, it makes for a pretty awesome scene. That and RD does a hurricane kick. So anyway, she wins, she loses, and she helps out anyway because the game was just a test to see how gutsy she was. guess maybe she just didn't have anyone to play soccer with and really wanted to play soccer. And this leads to another meetup with this guy. Surely he won't be important to the story.
Don't even think about it. Who knows what Sunset Shimmer would do if you ended up getting her ex-boyfriend, too.
What?
I'm not trying to. I don't even know. We just accidentally... Ex-boyfriend?
Maybe he will be important to the story. But enough about that. Plot! They need to find a way to rally votes, so Rare comes up with the bright idea to have them all wear these around to promote school spirit. And then we get this song. Oh, thank God, a cheesy pop song. I haven't complained about something about this movie in so long, I was starting to get worried. Okay, this is stupid. This is so girly, this is so lame, this is what... Turn it off. Turn it off. Turn it off.
I'm gonna be myself, no matter what I do.
Oh my God, yes, just please, just sing about how being yourself is gonna save everything. Blameless, that's what I need, please.
Jump up, make a sound. Stomp your hooves, turn around.
Stop
now, make a change. Gonna come around.
Turn it off. Don't just sit there. Stop it.
Your hooves, turn around. Canterlot, Wonder Colts, help her win the crown. Jump up, make a sound. Stomp your hooves, turn around. Start now, make a change. Gonna come around. Jump up, make a sound.
How are you stupid? How can you be so stupid? I really need this.
Stop your hooves, turn around. Start now, make a change. Gonna come
Oh. That was probably one of the catchiest songs I've ever heard, despite me realizing how cheesy it was, and it just worms into your brain. It just, there's no other way. I don't know what else. I don't know what to say. I don't get it. It's stuck in my head. It won't get out. It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad even though I know it should be. It's not. It isn't. I don't understand. Moving on. Everyone is on her side now, and Sunset Shimmer sends Snips and Skulls to do some dirty work. And apparently she found photos revealing Miss Sparkle to have destroyed the gym for the dance. This turn of events results in her getting DQ'd from the competition. But faster than you can say resolution, Flash arrives and just so happened to come across the originals and that someone edited them. This results in Miss Twilight to be allowed to compete and the mystery sabotager to remain at large. My guess would be that the person who brought the photos, the other competitor, probably might have been the one who edited the pictures. But unfortunately, the dance is moved to a night later, and if this happens, she won't be able to get the crown and go home. Now let's take some time to talk about Captain Smug. When the trailer was released, fans weren't too happy with the little bit they saw from him. They felt that Twilight Princess was going to get a love interest and that this was out of character. I have to agree it was a little strange and out of place. More so for the fact that she's only been human for about a day and she already has the hots for someone? Ugh. But if done right, it wouldn't be that bad, right?
Wrong.
Unfortunately, there is no character to this guy. The little bit of times we've seen him, he's kind of just your typical good-looking high school band guy. He smiles, she plays with her hair, more cliché than cliché, which is sad because of what happens right here.
Wanna go to the fall formal with me tomorrow night?
That would be tomorrow night? No, 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 I can't. The portal. That'll be too late.
One no would have been fine.
The whole time during the movie, whenever he would come out, the audience would groan. But at this scene, the whole theater actually went, aww. It showed potential for this character. Maybe if he was a little more fleshed out, we could have had a really good supporting male character. He's kind of like Marty McFly if he had all the personality sucked out of him. The band playing is there, the cool attitude is there, the jacket is there. Well, in Marty's case, it's more of a life jacket. Still looks cool though. And to see it not fully realized kinda leaves one hoping for more. The movie's just a wee bit halfway over, so maybe there will be something awesome that he does in the end. Anyway, she goes to her friends and realizes that she has to tell them the truth because they need the night to go on. And we get another interesting scene.
Wait a minute. Let me get this straight. You're a pony?
You're a princess? You're from another world? That is awesome!
Now some were complaining that they accept this a little too fast and believe it all. And yeah, I'd say so too. You're a pony princess. Psh, you're insane. But they do have one big thing of proof. The dog just talked. You could tell me that you're from Mars, and I'd believe it if your dog started talking. So they team up to repair the gym. Everyone who sees decides to join in and help out. This results in her popularity going higher and the dance being returned for the night. And we get perhaps one of the more major problems in the movie.
You're lucky she was able to pull this off. Next time I ask you to make a mess of things, try to show a little restraint. I need this formal to go on tonight just as much as she does.
Then why did you destroy it in the first place? Whatever. And faster than I can finish this sentence, there is another song.
Getting ready and we're doing it all right.
What makes this song unique? References to the show. Jeez, if we get any more, I'm going to start thinking this is like the show. Whatever. They get to the dance and she meets up with Flash again.
Look, I know you said no about going to the fall formal with me, but would you reconsider and at least have one dance?
Yes, I'd love to dance with you.
If we could just replay that over and over again, that would be great. It's strange because that one slam is the only thing he does in the movie that's different. He's always either just smiling away or playing guitar. I don't really count his proving her innocence that important because anyone could have saved her. It could have been this guy. Anyway, dance goes on and Twilight wins the crown and everything ends happily ever after. Or does it? Bulk and Snails crash the party and steal the dog.
Give me the crown, or keep it, and never go home.
Wait, wouldn't it just go through the mirror? Magic hammer? Magic hammer. But defiant as always, she says no and rejects returning the crowd.
Equestria will find a way to survive without my element of harmony.
Wait a second.
You must use the mirror to go into this other world and retrieve your crown. Without it, the other elements of harmony have no power and Equestria is left without one of its most important means of defense.
Well, they're screwed. But turns out she called her bluff good and Sunset drops her hammer and we finally get some character. At the final.
Can't believe you were gonna do that for us.
It's no wonder you're a real-life princess.
Oh, yes, she's so very special.
Listen to that jealousy, that look in her eyes. It leaves a lot to the imagination. Was she just impatient or is she frustrated as she never learned how to be a good leader herself? Unfortunately, this is as close as we get to making her out to be more than just the stereotypical mean girl, so I guess we'll have to still dock it as a negative point. Just like Mr. Smug, this was just a taste of a possibly memorable character. Anyway, they fight over the crown with it eventually landing in the hands of Sunset. Jesus, talk about brutal overkill. It's like she realized once she put the crown on that this wasn't going to be a pleasant experience. I wouldn't go as far as to say that this will frighten children, but jeez, that was some pretty intense stuff, especially considering the subject matter. So she becomes Demon Lady, brainwashes everyone, and plans on invading Equestria with her teenage army. Some would say this wouldn't be a problem considering that they fought, crazier armies in the past. But these are teenagers, what with their raging hormones and emotional mood swings. Oh god, I surrender. And just as Sunset is about to destroy the main six, this happens. That is weird. That is weird, no doubt about it. No.
Together with the crown, they create a power beyond anything you could imagine. The magic of friendship.
They team up, go Voltron, and destroy Sunset in the same way that they destroy everyone else. Rainbow from the sky, blow up, and you know the rest. Some fans complain that this was a recycled and unoriginal way to beat an opponent, but come on, by this point, it's tradition. It's like the Power Rangers turning their backs on the bad guy when they're gonna blow up. It has to be done the same way.
The power lies on this side. Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers! You mighty morphin' Power Rangers! Go, go, Power Rangers!
And it's as if the writers knew that they were recycling, because holy cow did they go overboard with the destruction. Compared to Sunset's damage of the building, this looks way worse. How many broken pipes will need to be repaired? Stanley the janitor is going to hate his life. Also, some complain about the pacing of this scene.
I'm sorry, but all I've ever done since being here is drive everyone apart. I don't know the first thing about friendship.
I bet they can teach you.
But to be fair, if you're gonna end a movie based on friendship, you might as well just end it with friendship. What other way could they have ended it? She gets the crown and everything is finally resolved.
Would now be a completely awkward time to ask you for that dance?
Seriously, calm down with your raging hormones. They dance, everyone is happy, and it's finally time to put an end to this freak show. They say their goodbyes, they go through the portal seconds before it closes, mind you, and reunite with their friends, and everything is back to normal. Or is it? She bumps into this guy, who surely won't be important to the story. No wait, he wasn't? He pretty much served in the story little to nothing other than a dance. Which begs the question, why was he even included? Sure, he helped her out, but anyone could have done that. Even the writer for this movie confirmed that he wouldn't be coming back for season 4, as if she knew he wasn't a good idea. So why was he included? The world may never know. So that's Equestria Girls. How does it hold up? Well, it's a mixed bag. It's littered with plot inconsistencies. Fans can pick this thing apart from beginning to end. Cardboard characters, strange plot, even stranger setup. So how do I feel about this film? Well, I'm glad to say that I gave it lots of thought and I noticed all the problems on my first view and all the following views, and as a critic, I'd have to give it a 5 out of 10. But with my own personal biased opinion, I'd still have to give it the same score, a 9 out of 10. I meant to say a 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a 9. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. I'd give it a 9 out of 10. Why? I got 9 out of 10. 9 out of 10. Why? No. Okay. How? Okay. The references. Man, the references. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't smiling the whole time watching this. The characters were there, and at the end of the day, it's just MLP. I know a lot of fans are gonna take this the wrong way, but what I mean is that I didn't have high expectations when I went in. Just like with the TV show, my expectations were low, so that when it did something that resembled good, it made me want to keep watching. It didn't raise any standards for me, it just went above and beyond the standard. MLP the TV show hasn't raised the bar, but I'm glad to see that it always exceeds it. What does that have to do with the movie? Well, to me, this is standard. It wasn't great, but it wasn't bad. This movie was okay, and as someone who enjoyed the show, it reminded me of it. Not as good, but it was up there. And those references, geez, I mean, to put it in simple terms, because I'll never be able to put my feelings into words. I saw the plot holes. I saw the inconsistencies. I saw the bad points. But after watching it, I had this overwhelming feeling of sadness. Sadness because I realized that if they could make this movie about high school teenage girls and I would like it, and I liked it, that there would be no escape. That this was the end. There was no way out. They could make season 4 all about fart jokes, and I'd probably like it. Why? Because if they could make this movie enjoyable, there's just no way I could ever hate it. It basically proved that there was no way out. This was supposed to be my escape. When I first saw the trailer, my first initial thought was really joy, because I felt normal again for a split second. I thought that the show with the talking horses was better than what the trailer had to offer, but after watching the movie I realized it was done with the same care and attention, and it basically, to sum it all up, was the final nail on the coffin.